Hello, Tim here,
I'm Kelly.
and I kind of had to convince Kelly to do this video because I thought it was important. I'm not so sure she thought it was too important, but we live here at 8,000 feet on our 40 acres in our new house.
Charging.
And that was our vacuum. And the journey getting here, I thought was kind of important. The process we went through, making the decisions and the build itself and costs involved, all those things were kind of important. And I know in one of the videos, we kind of put the cart before the horse, where we were showing photos of excavation and foundation work and that kind of stuff, but there was no reference point. There was nothing to compare it to. We really hadn't told anything about our story, our journey, where we got here. I know Kelly feels a little bit different about this, but I thought it was important. So it'll either be one video. If we have too much information and it goes too long, we might make it into 2 videos. But along with this, we'll be doing videos showing the process, the build itself, from the foundation work, excavation, the flooring system, the house framing, the roofing, everything that goes into building this house. But I wanted to give the story a little bit of time before we put all those pictures on our website. So what are your thoughts?
Oh, I agree that we should have a little bit of a background. It's just, we're kind of, like you said, we're doing it backwards. We see all these other YouTube channels where they're showing the build and videotape and all that, but we didn't do that. So we're kind of going backwards here. We're trying to figure out how to show this to you guys the right way.
Yeah, and just some information to start off with. We're not off-grid. The only thing off-grid about our house really is the fact that we have a septic system. We have water from the municipality. We have power on the grid. We use propane instead of natural gas, and we have a large tank buried near the house that we use. So we're not like you'd call an off-grid house. We are very rural. We're out in the middle of nowhere, and 40 acres, and all of our neighbors have at least 40 acres. Some have upwards of 600 and some odd acres. But we didn't want to have an off-grid house. I think eventually we probably will add solar to our house. But as far as the water goes, we couldn't get the county where we live was not issuing well permits, so we couldn't dig a well to be off of the municipality's water. There were things that went into our decisions that are probably different than other people, and I admire the videos that I watch, and I watch a lot of them on YouTube, where people build their off-grid properties, and they have some amazing builds and a lot of technology that goes into it. We may be built a little bit more conventional, but it's what worked for us. And if it works for some other people out there, then maybe our journey will help them, and we can provide some information as far as that goes. We bought the land, 40 acres, in 2012. We had considered different areas and a lot of different circumstances, but we ended up focusing on this because of a number of reasons. And one is the area is just beautiful. We have 3 different mountain ranges. We're close to a ski resort, close to some pretty amazing towns, and a lot of things to do out here. And so we ended up choosing this acreage, and we paid $4,000 an acre. So our original cost for the land was $160,000. The purchase for the land was done in cash. So we didn't have, a mortgage for the land or anything like that. And that allowed us to have the land, except for yearly taxes, at virtually no cost after the initial purchase. in 2014, after the purchase of the land, then we built a shop. And we did that for a number of reasons too. One is talking to our neighbors. We found out that having a shop first allowed for storage, place to park vehicles, building materials can be stored there, and some people even used their storage buildings for living quarters while they built their houses. We didn't do that. Our storage, our shop as we call it, is 30 feet by 40 feet. And it's an enclosed building. We bought it. It was a package deal. The excavation work, the monolithic pour for the foundation and the flat work, and the structure itself dried in was about $56,000. And that $56,000 bought us not only the entire package, but the erection of the package. So a crew came in and did the excavation and the flat work, and then after that another crew came in and they built the structure. They built the walls, and they came in structural sections that they literally stood up and bolted together around, and then they put the roof system on, and that included metal roof, and it had the fascia and the soffit. The structure itself, it was dried in with windows and doors, and the overhead door, and also a person door. And then what Kelly and I did after that is we came in, and we've done projects for years. So we came in and we installed the siding and the trim, and we painted the structure, and got it to where it looked like a finished building. And that allowed us to put property we had that we didn't really want to put into storage. We could put it there, and it was on our property in a locked structure and fairly secure.
It's actually right behind us in the window there. You could probably see it in the distance. That's our shop he's talking about.
Yeah, and we did that in 2014. And it was during this time that we were thinking about what kind of house would we want to build. And it was a magazine bought at a grocery store that we brought home, and we started looking through, and we kind of keyed in on one of these. It was a house plan magazine, and we keyed in on one of the houses that was in this magazine, and it was through a company that supplies plans, house plans that you can buy. You can buy on the internet, and you can build these houses. And so the house that we noticed in this magazine was called the Larkspur, and it's actually a standard plan that's offered by a company called Donald A. Gardner Architects Incorporated. And it's the Larkspur. It was just a little bit less than 1,800 square feet, and it had a lot of neat features that we liked: vaulted ceilings, tray ceilings in bedrooms. It had 2 master bedrooms, one on each opposite side of the house, which I thought was nice because we could have family or friends visit and they'd have their own space and privacy that way. And 2 master baths and big closets, and it has a 3rd bedroom that Kelly uses as her office, and then a large open kitchen and dining area. It has a 2-car attached garage, and the basic plans, I think we ended up spending, with the number of copies of plans we got and everything all together, we were at $1,200–1,300
Something like that, yeah.
for the plans. I don't know if you can see this real well, but this is just a copy of the page from the magazine, and that's what we started with.
And we wanted a smaller home. We wanted a 1 level because, you know, the older you get, the less you want to take care of, and hopefully you don't have to.
Contacted this company and they asked about the plans, and they described the process for buying the plans, and there are a number of ways of doing it. You can buy hard copies, which is what we did, or you can buy a PDF where it's all electronic and you print out your own copies, and that works too. I liked having the printed out version because we didn't have a way to print out the size plans that you would hand to an architect or a builder from our house, and we would have ended up spending the same kind of money printing up the plans professionally if we had bought the PDFs. So we just went ahead and reordered the plans and received those in short time. Some of the things that you have to think about is if you're going to do this kind of build, you need to, with these plans, you need to make sure that it's exactly what you want. You can, with this Gardner Architects, you can actually switch flop plans from side to side or front to back. You can make changes to the plans. They have the equipment, the personnel to do all these changes if you want to do them. We did make some changes. One of the changes that we made is we have it's called a bonus room, but we have a room above our garage where we use the attic space to actually have a room. It's considered storage right now, but at some point it can be changed and you can have it as living quarters. You can do whatever you want to with it. Another thing that we changed is because of the area where we built, it gets pretty cold in the wintertime and we get a lot of snow. Mm-hmm. So we went with 2x6 construction on the exterior walls because it allowed for more insulation, a more solid building. We had to think about things like snow loads on the roof and again where we built, wind up here, those kinds of things. So we made some changes to the plans that added a little bit of cost, but it was nominal. It didn't change the overall cost very much at all. And it was easy for them to do. Now we have the plans. And what do we do from here? Well, we had a number of years where we didn't do anything. And it was just life circumstances. We were helping out our son and our grandbaby, and we had moved, we had retired, we moved out of state for a period of about 5.5 years. And we didn't start the build until, as timing would have it, when COVID-19 hit. And so right in the middle of COVID, we decided that's the best time to build. And we sold our house that we bought out of state and we moved back to Colorado and we started the process. We got here in 2020, about April of 2020.
2021.
2021, yes.
So it was after COVID.
Yeah. So COVID had been doing its thing and wreaked havoc on building materials availability and costs.
And
labor. Having a contractor became more difficult because all the contractors could pretty much name the price and they'd limit the amount of work they were taking in because they could. People wanted to have contractors and they just weren't available, so they could do whatever they wished. So it became a little bit more of a project than we really first chose to do. The initial cost we thought would be between $350,000 and $400,000, and we added considerably to that. The cost of building materials was more than 40% more than what we anticipated. We really lucked out. We did come in contact with the builder through one of our excavators. It was a family member, and he was able to take on the project and agreed to do that for the most part. And we used him and got the build started. But there were a number of things that led up to the build. And I do think this is probably going to end up being 2 videos because there's just so much information. And most of the videos that I've watched on YouTube, they didn't share the things that you really wanted to hear, like timelines and costs, specifically the costs, because those are the things that are important to people. If they watch our video, they're going to want to know, well, what did this cost you? What did you spend on this? And I want to try to break those things down for you. So here we are back in Colorado. We had some decisions to make. One was where were we going to live while we built our house. And so Kelly and I came up with an idea of maybe we can get an RV and park it on our property, or at some point park it on our property and live in the RV and do the build, and that might be a good way to go. We thought about maybe renting a house or an apartment or doing those types of things, but we kept coming back to the RV, so we did. We ended up buying an RV that allowed us to be on the property and be part of the build while it was going on and watch intimately what was happening or not happening in a lot of cases. And so we did. We bought an RV through a local dealership, and we paid, what did we pay for that?
35,000?
All right.
Something, 35,
Around,
37.
mid-30s for this RV, and it was about 35 feet long, and it had a master bedroom and a family room, and I guess as far as RVs go, it was supposed to be pretty nice. And we parked it at an RV park for the first 3 or 4 months, then at a neighbor's property for a month, and then we parked it on our own property after that. One of the things that kept us from parking it on our own property at first was the fact that we didn't have water or power yet. And so once we got those installed, we were able to put it here on our property right beside our shop, plug it into water and power, and go to the races at that point. So we have the RV parked up here, and we've talked to a builder, and we showed him our plans. And I want you to know that when you buy plans like this, they're architect drawings, and even Donald Gardner architects state that they're done to international building standards. And that's all fine and good, but at some point you're going to have to deal with your county because you're going to want to get a building permit. And so it doesn't matter if you're where we built or any place else in the country, you have to deal with your county's building codes and restrictions and whatnot. And so you're going to, at some point, you'd have to take these drawings that we have and take them to an architect, and you have to have things like the floor system has to be engineered, the foundation has to be engineered, you have to have soil samples taken, your septic system in our case has to be engineered, the roofing system has to be engineered, and all these things have to be done before the county will ever even consider issuing you a building permit. And we gave a copy of our drawings, our architect's plans, to our potential builder. Again, we met him through one of our excavators. They were, I believe, cousins. But anyway, we gave him a full set of the plans, and he took those and he looked them over, and he actually went to an architect that's in town near where we live and provided him with this information and said, hey, we need these things done. The septic, the foundation, the roofing, everything. And he got that ball started before we ever had a building permit. There are costs involved with architects, and these costs, for us, I think we spent a little bit, for everything, we spent a little bit less than $10,000 for all the architect's work. And then we had the architect's information, we had our plans from Donald Gardner, and we had our contractor who was going to work with us, and we had all that information, and then we approached our county. And we sat down with their building department and we said, what do we need to do to get a permit for the house? And so that process started. And in the meantime, we also started the process of having power and water. Water came from the municipality, and we had to write a check to them. What was that for?
Okay, I don't remember. A lot.
Yeah, but it was, I think, in the neighborhood of 6,000 or 7,000.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So we're just going to round it off to 6,000. So you're giving a check to the water department for $6,000. What does that get you? Well, what it gets you is their people come up and they go to where the water main comes, which is off the corner of our property, off the northeast corner of our property, and they install a meter, and they also do a stub out from the main line and the meter that goes out about 6 feet in our case. And that stub out provides a place for whoever's going to hook the water line up to where you're building, a place to do that. So now we have water. And then we went to the power company. So at this point, we've got all the groundwork started, at least for everything, the power, water. We have a contractor that's started working with us, that's drawing up a contract at this point, and we have a build site located on our property, and we're good to go. But I'm going to stop this video at this point because I know it's getting pretty long, and I think the second video will get into the build itself, and I'm going to break down costs for you so you have a good idea of what we spent, and for the size house that we have, and the fact that our house really is a custom house. I mean, we chose everything, and we changed a lot of stuff on the house, and we're going to do a video. Probably the third video will be a tour of the house on the inside and the outside. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, once we can learn how to use the droid that you
Yeah,
use.
we have a drone. We're going to try a bunch of stuff out. That's fine. It is a droid. But anyway, stick with us. If you have the patience, I think you're going to enjoy the videos that are coming up. We're doing the informational stuff. I just think it's too important not to do that. It gives you an idea of what you go through in the build process, and we're going to do on the next video. We're going to do a lot more cost stuff so that you have an idea of a realistic idea of what it costs to build a house, and we're going to go from there. But thanks, I really appreciate you being here watching this video, those that do, and we're gonna, as time goes on, I think we're gonna get a little bit better at this. I don't know if we can get any worse. Process. Yeah, but it's been a journey. There have been things that have been super fun. There have been things that have been really not so much fun, and we'll tell you about a few of those things. But it's something that Kelly and I did together, so I really think it's special. Kelly and I have been together a long time, and she's the only one that can put up with me. So,
vice versa.
Yeah, but thank you for coming along, and we'll be back real shortly.